Okay, we move over to part 6. Really, I didn't want to stretch this out to a 6 part video, but my camera can't go over 16 minutes. I mean, it can't go to 16 or 20 minutes. So that's one of the reasons why I have to put this to a part video and go all through all that. But this is the final video of my history of SummerSlam from 1988 all the way to 2008. We move over to 2006, and really this was just the start of SummerSlam really not being a memorable pay-per-view and nothing to look forward to. This was not a very good pay-per-view at all. You had Chavo Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio, which was an okay matchup, but I seen better between these two. These two had way better matches on SmackDown and other matches that were sort of way better than this matchup. You had Ric Flair versus Mick Foley in an I Quit matchup, a match that should have lived up to the hype, but didn't. And in the end, it just turned out to be a okay matchup. It just turned out to be a disappointing matchup, pretty much, as it didn't live up to the hype that many people were hyping it up to be. Batista versus King Booker was atrocious. Booker T did try, but I mean, really can't do nothing with Batista, and it showed in this matchup. DX versus the McMahons was okay. I mean, it was okay matchup for what it was. It was just an angle to set up another match between the two, between DX and the McMahons, this time with the Big Show added in. And it just had the WWE locker room involved and everything like that. Okay matchup. You had Hulk Hogan and Randy Orton go at it in a match that Randy Orton should have went over, but he didn't because I guess Hogan didn't see anything in Randy Orton, which is total BS. And this would have elevated Randy Orton to big success and would have been the thing that had people talking about Randy Orton and talking about him being a main event player and people taking him seriously, but that didn't happen as Hulk Hogan just completely destroyed Randy Orton. And then, of course, you had the WWE title match between Edge and John Cena, which was a very good matchup, but I seen better between these two, but it was still a good matchup, and it set up another matchup between the two where John Cena would take the belt from Edge, so Edge would wind up retaining the title in controversial fashion at the end. Overall, undercard wasn't really that good. Matches on this pay-per-view that should have lived up to the hype didn't live up to the hype, and there was only like maybe 1 or 2 good matches on this pay-per-view, but still, this just showed that the WWE was sort of declining and people weren't really caring about the WWE, and the WWE wasn't really caring about SummerSlam at this point as it showed on this pay-per-view. Overall, I give this pay-per-view a thumbs down as this was just a bad pay-per-view. Moving over to 2007, which didn't get any better at all. This was a bad pay-per-view as well as some matches that should have lived up to the hype. Same with 2006. Matches that should have lived up to what they were supposed to live up to, didn't live up to. As you had King Booker and Triple H go at it in a match that should have been good and should have lived up to the hype. But it didn't, as Triple H came back and he just squashed Booker T in a really short matchup that made King Booker look like a joke, and it made people not take King Booker seriously. And this was one of the matches that sort of set the trend of King Booker leaving the WWF around that time. You had Chavo Guerrero and Rey Mysterio go at it in a very anticlimactic match, as many people knew Rey Mysterio wasn't going to lose his return matchup in the WWF. You had John Cena and Randy Orton for the WWE title in a very good matchup. They had a lot of crowd heat in this matchup to where people really wanted to see John Cena lose the title and Randy Orton get the title. Very good matchup, and in my opinion, Randy Orton should have went over, but he didn't. He was supposed to, but I guess I don't know what happened with that, but he didn't go over like he was supposed to, but he wound up winning the title at the next pay-per-view, I believe, or the pay-per-view after that. So really it was worthless of Randy Orton not getting the belt here. And then, of course, you had John Morrison and CM Punk for the ECW title in a very short matchup, which should have been longer considering that these two were having good matches against each other around that year. But the WWE decided that they didn't really care that much about the ECW title, and they wanted to give Triple H a lot of time to hype up his return and his entrance. So they cut this match short, and really it wasn't that good for a match that was short. And then, of course, you had Batista and Khali, which was in a match that was truly appalling and really shitty and really just an awful matchup. Had no business being on the pay-per-view at all. And of course, you had the undercard where you had Kennedy and Carlito against Umaga and other stuff like that. Really, just wasn't a pay per view that just made you jump out of your seat and say, "I want to see this pay per view." As this pay per view didn't live up to the hype, as this was just an awful pay per view, terrible. Don't recommend it. Thumbs down. As this pay per view didn't sell anything, and it just led to bad things in the WWE around that time. And then of course 2008 sort of picked itself up, but still it wasn't didn't pick itself up enough, as this was just not a very good pay-per-view. Only memorable thing about this pay-per-view was the Edge Undertaker matchup, Hell in a Cell, very good matchup. These two beat the hell out of each other, used some ring psychology in this matchup. Also, they were telling a story in this matchup. Very good matchup. Highly enjoy it. And I believe this was match of the year in 2008. There was also a Triple H and Khali dud shitty match. There was a CM Punk versus JBL, which was okay, but what do you expect from a CM Punk JBL matchup? Then of course you had a very good MVP Jeff Hardy matchup, and then of course you have Batista and John Cena, and a matchup that many people didn't really expect anything good from it, but it exceeded a little bit of people's expectations. Had this match would have gone a little bit longer, this match would have been a very good match, a good 4.5-star matchup, but still, overall, this was an okay pay-per-view. Give it a thumbs in the middle. Could have been better, but still good for what it was. Overall, that's just my history of SummerSlam from 1988 all the way to 2008. Just going through a history of SummerSlam, as SummerSlam used to be one of the biggest pay-per-views of all time. Used to settle stuff. Used to have title change after title change after title change. Used to set feuds up for the next pay-per-view. But since then, since 2004 or maybe 2005 or maybe 2003, SummerSlam really hasn't been able to do that and do what it's been doing from previous SummerSlams. So SummerSlam has sort of just declined, and many people don't tend to talk about it, or they're not psyched about it because of how SummerSlam's been in the past couple of years. But hopefully the WWE can improve on it at this year's SummerSlam, as they already got 2 matches added for it, as they got John Cena versus Randy Orton again. They got Crime Time against Big Show and Chris Jericho, and I believe they might have a John Morrison versus Jeff Hardy versus CM Punk triple threat matchup, and they might have a Dolph Ziggler versus Rey Mysterio. So hopefully WWE can improve on the last couple of years of SummerSlam, as the last couple of years of SummerSlam have just been truly appalling and truly awful. So hopefully the WWE can improve on that and sort of get back on track of good SummerSlams and improve on that and sort of get back to what they should have been from the previous SummerSlams. But let's just pray on that. But anyhow, that's just my video. Hopefully you like it. Sorry for going through part 5 and part 6. Really didn't want to extend to that, but had a lot to say about all these SummerSlam pay-per-views. Anyhow, hopefully you enjoyed this video. You can rate, you can comment, give me a video response, and just let me know what you think about the video. Until then, thank you for watching. Hope to see you probably Thursday or probably Friday or whenever I upload another video. Till then, thank you for watching. Fitness65 out. Peace.